MLB spring training has started, and the pitch clock and other rule changes has already seemed to make a massive effect on the game. We'll talk about it right after this. You make it happen. You come back from the brink of hell. Kind of in a love triangle situation right now, and to help illustrate what needs to happen this next week for each team to make the playoffs, I have this nice whiteboard.
Oh, Jesus.
This one's for you. How did they not figure this out? The reason the game is dying, the reason the fan base is shrinking, is because no one can watch your product. The NBA title this year with the Phoenix Suns, would that validate his legacy?
I have no comments about the snake.
Divorce is tough, man.
I guess, yeah. Divorce is hard. Poor guy. Hopefully he can still kiss his son on the lips, though. Anyways, welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports, the most unprofessional YouTube channel on the platform. I am your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle. Here with my co-hosts today are Aaron, Siege, and Joe. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
What's going on?
Family.
All right, before we get into it, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Appreciate it. But
You finally remember at the beginning. Let's go.
yes, I did remember this time. Congratulations to me. So, the MLB spring training has commenced this past week, and the pitch clock specifically, as well as some other rule changes, but the pitch clock specifically has already caused a stir in the baseball community. Many people are saying it is a waste of time, me included. I think it is stupid. I do not think it affects the game all that much in the grand scheme of things, but that's beside the point. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But let's start off. Do you guys think the pitch clock implementation in Major League Baseball is actually going to improve the game? I'll start with you, Siege. What do you think? Do you think the pitch clock's actually going to make any difference whatsoever?
I think we'll see obviously like a shorter game, but I don't think there needs to be a shorter game. I mean, still the average MLB game is like 3 hours and 5 minutes or something like that.
Right.
The same as an NFL game. It's shorter than a college football game. Like, I don't think that's where the MLB needs to be focused on, like trying to grow the game, is adding a pitch clock. The only thing I can see it leading to is more hit batters.
Yeah. More injuries.
That's the only thing I can see this leading to. More hit batters, more injuries. So I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily like it. I mean, either way, I'm still gonna watch baseball if I can.
Sure, because you loved it.
But
If you can.
Yeah,
if you can, if the Major League Baseball, that's it.
So it's not gonna make like a difference for me watching the sport. It's just gonna, I don't know. It's gonna be weird. I feel like getting into a hitter's mindset and a pitcher's mindset when they're being rushed like that, because like hitters have a routine and they're not going to be able to do their routine anymore before a pitch is delivered. So hitters are just going to have to adjust, same as pitchers, but I don't know. I think it's more flawed for the hitters in this situation than it is for the pitchers.
Yeah, because the hitters, I mean, they have to somehow think of what's they literally, the hitters in Major League Baseball, they have to predict what pitch is coming every single time. They're not able to read and react. They don't have time to do that. With a 99-mile-per-hour fastball, you don't have time to read and react. You literally are guessing just about every single pitch, because the difference between a 99-mile-per-hour fastball coming in and a 79-mile-per-hour curveball is drastically different. Your mind will not be able to process a 99-mile-per-hour fastball in time for you to actually make contact. You have to know it's coming. So limiting their ability to think in between pitches is probably going to cause more strikeouts than it's going to cause home runs, I would imagine. And then to your point, Siege, I don't think it's really going to affect who watches the game at all. I think we'll find that out at the end of the season when we look at ratings for Major League Baseball games. That if they do improve, it's going to be marginal, and I don't think the pitch clock's going to really be a driving force behind it. I just don't see how this is going to positively affect the game other than shortening it and making it more accessible to people with short attention spans, which is that population is growing every single day. So, Aaron, what do you think? Do you think the pitch clock, as someone who doesn't watch baseball very much as us at least, mainly just Royals. Well, me too, but you
If I
more
can.
so. If you can, if they allow you to. Do you think the games being 20 minutes, 25 minutes shorter is going to be the difference between you watching 10 games this year and 20 games this year?
I'm really on the fence about the pitch clock because I see where you guys are coming from, but I've also heard, the arguments that, when we played baseball, we didn't have all the time in the world to, step out of the box, adjust our batter's gloves and all that.
Sure.
We, you stepped 1 foot out, you looked at the third base coach, you gave you your sign, and you step back in.
Right.
There you go. So I do think increasing pace of play is probably better to increase, viewership, but
yeah,
I don't really know other than that.
Yeah, and just
what it would be good for.
Yeah, and just kind of side with the devil's advocate argument that you're presenting, which is kind of nice to have a different change of pace because I think all three of us are kind of on the same page, and that can be kind of an echo chamber. So, kind of to lean more towards your side of the fence, I do understand that hitters stepping outside of the box to literally just change their batting gloves does look ridiculous. It looks like something that's meaningless and is just dragging on the pace of play. But what people don't understand is those hitters during that time of, and I'm not saying you specifically, I'm just saying like the general casual baseball viewer who's, let's just assume, has never played before or hasn't played outside of like T-ball or coach pitch. They don't understand that when the batter's doing that, they're being like, okay, what pitch is going to come next? Like, he just threw a fastball up and in. Do I think he's going to double up on that? Do I think he's going to come with a changeup down and away now? Like, there's a lot going in their mind when the hitter is doing that. And some of them...
How long is the pitch clock?
15 seconds. With nobody on.
15 seconds.
Yeah.
So is that from when the pitcher gets the ball back, or?
Yes.
Right
as soon as the pitcher gets the ball back, 15 seconds starts.
And the batter has to be back in the box with 8 seconds.
So the batter only gets 7.
Yeah.
I think they could do with a little bit longer, but I think maybe like give them like 10 seconds or something like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me is like the hitter doesn't get 7 seconds isn't long enough for a hitter to think about what's coming. Like, so many different thoughts are coming inside their mind after a pitch. Like, 7 seconds is not long enough for them to be like, okay, fastball just came. What do I think's coming next? They could double up. They could go change it down and away. They could also go curveball down and in. Like, there's a lot of different ways they can go. I think they're going to go this. Like, that takes more than 7 seconds. But I do agree that pace of play does need to be sped up a little bit. I don't know that it needs a pitch clock to enforce that, though, per se. I think they could easily just have umpires maybe remind them after, hey, step in the box, or I'm going to have to, call a strike here. I don't think they need like a physical pitch clock right there to be like, oh, you have this.
Well, then the whole
beep,
problem
beep.
people have with umpires, is the inconsistency, though. Leaving that up to their discretion, like, hey, hurry up. Each umpire is going to have a different sort of internal clock. So I don't think you can do that at all.
Yeah. I don't know. That's how we grew up, though. Like that's what we had to deal with growing up. The umpire would be like, "Hey, get in the box." We didn't have a pitch clock.
Yeah, but we didn't also stand out waiting for 30 seconds.
Some people did. Let's be honest. Some people did. The people who had big heads who thought they were SHIT. They were out there doing like the big poppy, like yeah, I'm a pro, bro, and then they end up getting cut from their high school team. But
Is someone on your mind?
No, we didn't have cuts at high school.
I was just asking.
Yeah, we didn't have any cuts in high school. We went to a small school. Everyone made the team. because positivity. Uh, but the pitch clock's already been an issue. Like we've seen literally a game end due to a pitch clock, the hitter not getting into the box on time. Joe, do you think this is a problem that we may see in a playoff game this year? Because the last thing we want is to see a playoff game end because a hitter didn't step into the box within 8 seconds.
There's definitely going to be a problem with it this year at some point, especially in a big game. The playoffs or, last week or two of the season where every single game counts for certain teams. I was even thinking about like how it's going to affect mound visits and trying to get a guy out and get the guy in the bullpen ready to go. Like if you're in the bullpen, like you got to be hustling if it like needs to be a quick change because you only have 15 seconds between pitches. You need to be probably throwing 2 or 3 within that same time frame just to be ready to go. And as a coach, you have to be like ready to go. Like, okay, I got 15 seconds, whatever, to make this decision. Otherwise, we get a balk or something like that. So I actually think it's going to be the first year, maybe even the first 2 years of it. I think it's definitely going to be, you're going to see all the flaws that it has. You might even see some of the pros. So I don't know. It's going to be weird.
Well, and going back to the
I'll be honest, seeing a couple of the highlights of some of the games, like pace of watching one at bat, at least on TV, sitting on this house.
Fun. It is much more fun.
See it.
Yeah, it is more fun.
It's constant action. Like, it's the only sport that doesn't have constant action and moving all the time. So,
like I saw that one.
It makes it cool.
I can't remember whose name it was, who it was, but I remember one. I saw where one pitcher struck a dude out in 20 seconds. I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. That was pretty dope. That was exciting to see it. Just phew, like no hesitation. Like Stu was like, well, I'm screwed. But so I do see.
It's gonna be crazy.
I do see the positives of it. I'm not gonna lie, but the negatives just seem to outweigh those positives. And kind of going back to your first point, Joe, with the whole bullpen situation, you, me, and Siege can all attest that if a pitcher does not have enough time in the bullpen, they're gonna have injuries. Because what do all 3 of us have in common? Injuries. And what else do all 3 of us have in common? We were thrown into a game ice freaking cold because we didn't have enough time to warm up. Tommy John, labrum, and also labrum.
Everything in the shoulder.
Everything. Everything. Rotator cuff, labrum, you name it. So,
Siege was on his way too because he was pitching with it for a while before he finally got it done.
Yeah. I don't know how. I knew first game.
It's just soft.
That mine was
just soft. That's all it is.
I'm soft. Yeah.
Soft. Coach, my elbow hurts.
It could have been the 85% curveballs I threw my freshman year. It could be that, where I would literally throw 20 curveballs and 1 fastball a game. But
that's why you play the field.
Hey, nastiest curveball.
The fastballs whenever I went against them.
Nastiest hey, I topped out at 84 against Joe, baby. Fastest I ever hit on a radar gun was against Joe. And I felt like a badass. So, curveball, best curveball in the GAC. I had the most confidence in my curveball out of any pitcher in the GAC until after surgery. Pre-surgery, though, I threw that shit to anybody. God, I miss baseball. But
I have another question real quick before we wrap up the pitch clock stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a casual viewer, right?
Sure.
I've never once walked into one of my buddies' houses that has not played baseball and they've had a baseball game on. However, I've walked into my buddies' houses that have never played football and
NFL's on.
We just watch football.
Right.
So it's like, how do you think the MLB would? I mean, do you think a pitch clock regulation is going to
change that?
Attract people that have never played the game before to watch it,
right.
Or because of these other sports, I played basketball when I was younger, but not really competitively. I played in middle school and that was it. But I still watch basketball games. I've never played a down of football in my life. I watch college football religiously whenever it's football season. So it's like, is there a way that the casual viewer that's never played baseball will start enjoying baseball because of pitch clock, or is there
So,
Televise
other
the
ways to go
freaking
about that?
games.
well,
That'll
yeah,
do it for you.
that's definitely the biggest issue is that the lack of access to multiple teams, but specifically your local teams is a huge issue. If your team's not good, no one's going to go to the games, regardless of what market you play in. Maybe New York and LA gets away with it, but just about every single other, like even if you were to go down to Houston, and when the Astros were bad, I guarantee they were blacking out. So I think that's the biggest issue is you're just not able to watch many teams. You're able to watch the big city teams like the New York Yankees, the LA Dodgers, um, but you're not able to watch the I don't know let's name a team that's the St. Louis Cardinals even. I mean the Cardinals are on more than other teams, but like the Marlins were good last year. How many Marlins games were on national TV? The Mariners were good last year. How many Mariners games were on national TV? So I think that's the biggest issue. But on top of that, I mean, baseball is a game that has a lot of nuance to it. It's not something a casual could just sit down and understand every single thing that's happened. Like in football, you understand why a receiver ran a certain route, maybe. In basketball, you understand why someone cut at a certain time. But in baseball, you don't know why somebody put down a bunt with a runner on first and no outs, unless you know baseball. Like, that just looks like a waste of time. Like, oh, why would he do that? Why wouldn't he swing? You know, like the casual person who doesn't know baseball very well or hasn't played baseball, they're not going to understand the nuances of the game, which are very prevalent in baseball. It's probably the most nuance filled game out of the big four: hockey, basketball, and football and baseball. You know, it's probably got the most nuance out of any of them. Aaron, as more of a casual viewer, what are your opinions on this question?
I think part of it has to do with scheduling. I mean, you look at
There are a lot of
college
games.
football and NFL football. The you have Saturday, all Saturday there are college football games. You can just go hang out with your friends, make a day of it. All Sunday NFL games. You got the morning games, the afternoon games, and the late night games. Like with MLB, you've got days where there's, on Wednesday there's a game. You might not be able to watch it, but there's a game. So I think it's more of make a day of it as opposed to the MLB schedule is like so spread out.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, even when there are national televised games, it's not like back to back. Like even NBA, they have back to back every single night. They have almost every single night they have national TV games. They have a game at 6, and then they have a game at 9. MLB, they'll have that one game at 7, and that's it. They won't have a game at 6 and a game at 9, which I think would really open up opportunities for more people to watch the game. Because not everybody in the United States gets off work in time to watch a 7 o'clock game. You know, if they live on the West Coast, that game starts at 5. They're on their way home. If they're in LA, that traffic, they're not getting home till 6:30. So they're not going to be able to watch anything. By the time they get home, that game's almost over. So I do understand that for sure. Scheduling could definitely be an issue. I also think there might be a little bit too many games. I think that if you cut it down to 140, games mean more in the regular season. With 162, you can take the first 20 games off in a year and, make the playoffs. So I think which they'll never do, but I think if you were to cut back the games, that's why NFL is so popular, is because every week that game matters. That's why college football is so popular. Every game, that one matters. If you lose, you're this much closer to missing the playoffs, especially in college. Even in the NBA, if you lose 40 games, you're possibly missing the playoffs. In MLB, you can lose 80 and still get in as a 5 seed. So that'll never happen because of revenue. But I think if they were to cut back on the games, people would also, find that importance more exciting. The games would mean more, so people are more likely to be like, oh, this game actually matters. Like my team may make the playoffs if they win this game, or they may miss it if they lose this game. So, but Joe, do you have anything to add to Siege's question?
I'm pretty much like with Aaron, like just you got to be able to air the game and be able to give people a chance to watch it. But Siege also made a great point. Anyone and everyone will have a football game on. More people have basketball than you see just a normal baseball game. So you just got to get more people into it. How? That's the magic question, but nonetheless, it needs to be done.
Yeah, supposedly baseball is more popular amongst kids than football is, but a lot of that has to do with the CTE stuff that people are worried about. So that's more of a right place, right time than anything. It's not so much, oh, people are picking baseball because they actually love baseball. It's like, no, people want their kids to play sports, and football's really dangerous, and hockey's really dangerous. Baseball, not so much, unless you get hit in the head with a pitch. But even then, you have a helmet at least, so maybe that'll deter it. But that'll do it. Unless you guys have anything to add, please cut me off. That'll do it here for this video of Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circleberberkel, here with my co-hosts Aaron, Siege, and Joe. Go ahead and say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Later.
All right. If you made it this far in the video, please like and subscribe. But that'll do it. Deuces.